Right, Bev, ready to go live?
Yeah, ready. I think.
Perfect. Sure?
Yeah.
No.
Go for it.
Hey, good evening. I'm Andy.
And I'm Debs.
Stay tuned.
It's Codes of the Unknown.
Hello.
Good evening.
Hello, everyone. Right. Luckily, where do we start? So, George, who is going to be with us very soon,
He is.
He lives in New South Wales in Australia, and we didn't know the time difference between us. We both thought it was 12 hours. It's actually 9 hours. So I've just rang him.
Still in his pajamas.
I've just rang him, got him out of bed as it's 5 a.m. But he didn't answer. It was his wife.
Just excuse me a minute while I go get my pajamas on.
So he's gonna scrub his mush, as he said, brush his hair, have some coffee, and he'll be with us in about 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So yeah. Blue Shift has put, is this live? I was thinking it wasn't.
Not sure. Hang on.
Ow.
Yeah, that hurt.
Yeah. So yeah, 9 hours difference. So he is going to be on. I've literally just come off the phone to him.
Yeah.
Didn't think he'd be
he was trying to get his strides on
anytime soon. But he's going to be on in about 10-15 minutes. So that gives us a chance to update you all with what we've got coming up.
Yes.
Hair transplant might be one of them. But anyway. So because we're getting busier and busier, and we're getting guests coming on all the time, we're getting to the point now where I have got 3 Fridays off between now and the end of the year so far. The guests that are coming on, it's like, yeah, you can come on, but you're looking at it's going to be the end of the year, beginning of next year before you can come on.
Yeah.
So what we're doing, we're going to treat you all. We're going to start doing Wednesdays again.
Yes.
Yes, Deb's so impressed.
Yes. Yes, because some weeks I'll be working 5 nights a week. Oh, well, I've nothing better to do.
I'm just reading the messages. So, Wednesdays, are going to be mainly for investigations, hopefully live. There are going to be some pre-recorded because a lot of the time that I'm going to go out is a Tuesday night, but weather dependent. Might have to not do it the Tuesday, do it the Wednesday, or do it the weekend, blah, 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 so on and so on. But with guests, yeah, we want you to come on, but can you come on in 2024? Because we haven't got any space here.
Yeah.
So there's going to be some weeks where they're going to be on a Wednesday and it's going to be live. I don't want to do any more pre-recorded guest shows, so to speak.
Yeah.
Because it's better for you guys to interact with it and ask the questions, because it has been known that when we've done a pre-record and we've run it, people have been asking questions. Sorry, they thought it was live. I'm like, Kev, I think they think it's live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We will make it
You
clear
know who you are.
Yeah.
Blue and Twitchy Curtains. Sorry.
Twitchy Curtains messaged me and said, am I being thick or is this live or am I being thick?
But Blue did ask at the beginning of this, is this live? But do you know, I don't blame him asking because I wouldn't have been so sure either.
No. But we are live, we can assure you.
Live. So
the time is now 2011.
Yeah. He's got about another 10 minutes yet anyway. So
so what we're doing a week on Sunday, Andy?
1 second, you interrupted me.
What are we doing a week on Sunday?
I'm probably having a lie-in. Oh no, I'm not. I'm getting up at 6:30.
Yes, you are, yeah.
I was gonna say, oh yeah, we're going up to Hull.
We are. To the OLM conference.
I thought it was a big portal.
Oh, we can go there as well.
All right, okay.
It's a big port, or it used to be.
Oh yeah, that's it. Port Hull.
Port.
Oh, I did a joke and didn't even know.
Yeah, we know. Well, it wasn't really a joke, was it? But anyway.
No. So yeah, we're going up to Hull for the Outer Limits magazine. Chris Evers and everybody else going on the Sunday.
Yes.
Yeah. So with the Wednesdays.
Oh, George is in.
1 second. With the Wednesdays, it's just going to be. It's called the Open Portal. It's going to be guests, live investigations, me and Deb chatting about whatever, updates, downdates, or maybe nothing.
Yes.
We might not have one every Wednesday, but we will. I said we're going to start off doing one a month, but I think by the end of next month, it's going to be one a fortnight or one a week.
Yeah.
So enough of that. And here is the one and only George Mitrovic.
Hello.
Hello. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
You never know what will come through a portal.
You've just shot through one there.
Exactly.
Quick, just washed for mush. Madam made my coffee. I've got water sitting here. I may have to head off for a pit stop at one stage.
No, that's fine. We've got a break.
It's 5:13 here at the moment, and we both stuffed up the timing completely, but it's not a cardinal sin. No. It's not even the Archbishop of Manila.
I
you'll
blame,
remember.
Yeah, I'm going to blame Joe Weeks for all of this.
Oh, okay.
She's our moderator, so she should be up on knowing the time difference between continents.
That's all right. I should have checked Google. I did it for my interview with Canada last week, and I was fine. But I thought we'd already worked at the time, so this is right. But anyway, we're here, which is the main thing, and it sure beats 6 months on a leaky boat full of smelly people and scurvy. And only a one-way ticket.
It's not much different here.
No, not really.
Yes, I heard you've got a lot of problems with food and everything there. The COVID age is unique. Yeah. I'm very well, thank you.
So sorry for having to get you up.
No, not at all. It's part of the obligation, the verbal contract we made with each other. So, and I'm just glad that I'd accidentally left my phone on. Madam was wondering, what's that noise? That she could hear people talking. And, we have got the most haunted house in the area, but we really didn't want it to come. But it's a different story. That's not today. And actually, that house we tore down in 2000.
Oh.
Ooh. Interesting.
Very.
Yeah.
So George.
Oh, go on.
Oh, sorry, no.
Okay, I'll introduce myself then.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, saves us 2 fighting to do it.
Okay. Very simple introduction. My name is George Mitrovic. I live in Australia. It is 5:15 a.m. And silly me, I was wasting my time sleeping after editing last night. But up and at 'em, as they say, at 'em at.
Yep.
Yeah.
I am the author, as far as I know, of over 70 books on Amazon. Some say 80. I don't count them. I write them, collate them, research them.
Yeah.
They average 300 pages each. They can be up to 1,700 pages. They are all in chronological order or geographic order. I might have Asperger's. I seem to like putting things in order.
Yeah.
It's very annoying. It drives Madam mad because I reorganise tabletops at dinner.
I'm a little bit like that. I think that's OCD.
Yeah, it might be OCD as well. Whatever it is, I work on a multitude of topics. As Clarence Mitchell said to me a few years ago, I was only talking to him last week in Canada. No, he was in Minneapolis. The interview was in Canada. It gets very confusing at times.
Yeah.
And he said to me once, "You're the only person I've ever met that I ask you a question about a subject and you reach behind you and grab a book you've written on it." And there are some of them behind me, if you can see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what got you started with all this then, going back, right back?
Right back? Oh, we're going back to the Paleolithic period. Let's go to the very beginning. Yes. Pardon the singing. But it is a family time. What came back to the beginning? I don't know. I have vague memories of when Abyssine Bell being drowned in 1962-63. Abyssine Bell, High Temple of Egypt, High Dam of Egypt, and my older siblings and my mother said you were donging the piano and wailing,
right?
Because you were terrified of the drowning of Abyssine Bell, Philae, and Elephantine. Strange thing for a 7-year-old child to be doing.
Just slightly.
Yes, slightly. Yes, I was trying to write an opera. A requiem for Abyssine Bell and the Aswan High Dam, and it sort of continued from there. I've got a prodigious intellect, according to everyone that's ever tested it.
Right.
The last estimate in 1986, 87, something like that, was 205.
Right.
Which is over the charts.
Yeah.
But it still doesn't mean I can open the screen door. But I can upholster furniture, so there are things that work and some things that don't.
Yeah.
I think everything went in stasis after Aswan Dam, and I calmed down with it. And I was the usual child that sat on their own in the schoolyard because I was a bit nerdish. I just read books. I'd read things like Leonard Cottrell's Valley of the Kings. To me, it was good reading for first class.
Yeah.
Or books on paleontology and geology. And the other kids didn't seem to share my interest.
No,
boring little turds. And so it gave me more time to work with my mind. And because I remember my parents gave me a very unusual gift when I was 5, I think.
Yeah.
The Encyclopedia Britannica.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. It was an old form. You had books and they had knowledge in them. I think I've written one already, and or several. And I just read it. I found it fascinating from go to woe. I like sucking up information like a big Hoover.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful word, that. It's a noun and a brand name at the same time.
Yeah.
And I just kept reading. One day I think I was 9 then, I came upon the Allende letters. Both of you might know them.
No.
By Alex Bender.
Yeah.
The first book on the Philadelphia experiment.
Right.
All right.
Then paperback. And I found it quite fascinating. And around the same time I started finding books by, Andrew Wilkinson? Harold Wilkinson? He was what was called a pseudo-archaeologist, mythologist at the time.
Right.
But he brought up amazing architecture, amazing archaeology. He brought up things that weren't supposed to exist, like Tyrannosaurus petroglyphs in the canyons of Arizona and Washington State.
Yeah.
One doesn't talk about them. And I sort of started wondering, how many of them are there?
Yeah.
So I bought books by Michael Chiroux, Andrew Thomas, French authors, long before von Däniken, who were all talking about the same subject.
Yeah.
The Mystery of the Magicians, The Gods from the Stars, which was a Däniken title much, much later.
Mm.
And there's all this archaeology, that accepted archaeology, or as I call it now, the hegemonic oligarchy, wasn't going to talk about or release. And we've all met the hegemonic oligarchy. They're two big words. It means this is our club. If you don't follow our rules, you do not have any position in our learning institution, reading institution, writing institution, or publishing institution. I thought, let's continue. Let's just continue amassing books, amassing reading, amassing data, and assimilating it all.
Yeah.
Well, that's fun, good hobbies for children. And it continued until 1970, probably from before 73. In 1973, 72, well before both of you were born.
Oh, no.
Oh,
I'll stick to my story.
yeah. A long time before I was born.
Sorry. And Madam's only 21, so it's an old tradition. It could be sexist and ageist, but I really don't care.
No, I don't either.
We don't.
No.
I don't care at all. I'm old enough now that I say what I say when I say it. And I don't really give a rat's ass about most people anymore worrying about it. If you're going to be that bloody sensitive, it's their problem. It's not mine.
Agreed.
And I started noticing a mystery. And I noticed mysteries. I seem to have a radar for mysteries.
Mm-hmm.
I was looking at hairy humanoid or Bigfoot sightings or Yowie sightings or whatever you want to call them. Big, hairy thing wandering through the bush or the steppes or the forest or the tundra or the desert.
Yeah,
and they're good. They were fun. I was reading Sanderson's works on them. Ivan Sanderson, brilliant author.
Yep.
The 30s, 40s, and 50s. Also a brilliant anthropologist, which most people don't realize. Right. The authors I was reading were not just loonies in a room somewhere writing because they felt like it one day. And I noticed I was reading books on UFOs as well, and the Virgin Mary, and just an entire hodgepodge of miscellaneous phenomenal phenomena.
Yeah.
And I found something interesting. To give you an example, have I set everyone to sleep yet?
No,
definitely not. Everyone's good.
I thought, we have Mountain A sitting here. A nice big mountain just sitting there. A whole lot of people are living on the side of this mountain, and they've got big cats. They've got hairy humanoids. They've got everything happening in their part of the mountain.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. On this side, people are seeing a Virgin Mary in a tree. That sounds bizarre until you start reading about Virgin Mary sightings. They're almost always in caves or trees.
Yeah.
They can't stand on the ground like anyone else. They have to be in a cave. They had to be in a tree. But it's on the other side of the mountain. So, okay, that's a coincidence. A funny coincidence, but it's a coincidence. But the third side of the mountain, there are people who are meeting them. Orthon from Venus is coming down and is giving great messages, salvation, death, prophecies of the future, which incidentally never come true.
Yeah.
But happily given. And I thought, what is a common phenomena? What is the common geometry or mathematics of these three different types of sighting? It can't be the sighting.
No.
It can't be the phenomena in the sighting. What are the three common parameters? The place. The place obviously has something.
Yeah.
Some people might bring up Tellurianism or gayism or Jayism, depending on how you wish to pronounce it today.
Yeah.
or a buried sacred site that's doing its thing as well. Okay. Could be. The second part is these are multi-witnessed phenomena.
Yeah.
I don't collect data from single witnesses if I can, unless there's a hell of a lot of physical evidence with it, such as footprints, landing gear, strange bits of metal, things blowing up into flames.
Yeah.
So we have place and time. Because the actual phenomena itself is objective. We can't use it.
Yeah.
We can study it.
Yeah.
We can study the forms of it. But it's not a constant. We have two constants, time and space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So me being me, and this is pre-computer age. This is early 70s, maybe the late 60s really, when I got to it. I set up a little rack of boxes from old printers block boxes, going from A to Z. So I started writing notes. This one's A, it goes in the A, it goes in the B, it goes in the C. And then when I gathered thousands of them, I thought, let's find a test period.
Yeah.
1800 to 1977 was a good test period for all of these phenomena. It didn't matter what it was.
Yeah.
But let's have a test period. Let's see if this thing works. If it's totally random, well, it's just everyone having slightly psychotic or schizoid episodes, or they're drug-induced or something.
Yeah.
So remember, electromagnetic waves can influence the human brain to see the most amazing things. It's one of the causative problems with schizophrenia,
Yes.
the electromagnetics of the brain. So, okay, we've got to allow for it. Energy surges. Let's have a think. Yeah, my brain's whirling away quite nicely. So I amassed all this information, eventually bought a computer in the Paleolithic period again. That was, 1 megabyte and cost $4,800. And it was the ants pants.
Yeah.
And I started collating data in it so I could write down more data, bought more books,
Yeah.
collated more data. The industrial vacuum cleaner was at it. By 92, after 72, so it's a 20-year period, this database is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And I said, okay, I've got enough data. What the hell do we do with it?
Yeah.
It is showing threads. I said, okay, what we've got to do is, I having no knowledge of graphs, or I don't like graphs.
No.
I thought, okay, there's only one way to do it. I'm going to get some big graph paper. Pardon me. I'm going to get some big graph paper, and I'm going to make 180 west, 180 east. So I'm limiting it to a latitude or a longitude.
Yeah.
People are making the mistake of trying to do both. You end up with 5-dimensional mathematics. No one can work it out. It is impossible.
Yeah.
Because it's a constant spherical thing. And once you add a moving integer in it, forget it. It just multiplies random chance like it's going out of fashion. Wake up, Andy. Wake up.
I am. I'm listening. Taking it all in.
Okay. 180 west, 180 east, a double zero down the middle. The double zero was very important because it was northeast and northwest.
Yeah.
Without that, everything is skewed, like statistics, and we don't want it skewed. We want a pure representation of data in visual form. And months and months and months and months later, after a lot of writing, let me introduce you to the only remaining graph, because I burnt the rest of them like I had the shits.
Wow.
Tell me about this graph.
I can't even make head and tail of that.
On your left is North America.
Right.
The skinny bit here
Yeah.
is Britain and Ireland and the west coast of Europe.
Right.
Right.
You notice that these are all sine waves.
Yeah.
Weird pieces of human imagination and fantasy cannot create sine waves.
Right.
All of these are Bigfoots and UFOs and hairy hominoids and Virgin Marys and spontaneous combustion. I decided if it can form a pattern
Yeah.
that can be tested, it exists. If it
Yeah.
doesn't, it doesn't exist.
Right. Yeah.
It's random.
Okay. Yeah.
It doesn't exist at all. So anyway, sitting there with this, I mean, you imagine creating this and thinking, what the hell can I do with this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What can I do with this? They're obviously progressing forwards in time. Oh, this is a time axis.
Yeah.
Right.
So you can see all these lovely, lovely dots are phenomenal events. It's not supposed to exist. And they're moving. Which means, as we have different sine waves, and all of the universe, the multiverse, is a series of sine waves functioning and resonating at different frequencies and different lengths. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our basic inner being is a series of sine waves. Because once something starts moving, it creates a harmonic, which is a sine wave from the first atom to the explosion of a multiverse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pure logic. So these are predictable places. My original thesis or postulate was correct, or appeared correct, because we still haven't tested it yet, that time and place move.
Yeah.
Maybe it's like the caduceus,
Yeah.
which is the stick with the spider twirling around it, or the
Yeah.
infinite spirals of Kundalini, because we've
Yes.
got to remember, we're not the first people on the planet.
No.
Lots of people before us. Lots of people maybe with the same concept. Maybe lots of people, or at least elite classes, knew the concept of everything moving. So we were at a stalemate, or I was at a stalemate. I refer to me as we sometimes. It gets confusing. It's my brain versus me, and me versus my brain, and sometimes others as well. But I'm not schizoid. I'm perfectly sane, probably too logical. In 1994, bear with me one moment. As usual, totally unprepared for anything. Or maybe not. Just a few little things. 1994, I made contact through a third party who was interested in my research, but only for interest rather than anything, because they didn't know what to do with it. I made contact with a foremost Pasteur Prize-winning physicist in Australia, who's unfortunately not very well anymore.
Right.
And we ran an experiment. We put all my data, thousands and thousands of pages, through the computer of the time. So you can imagine, 1992, this thing's a monster.
Yeah.
Nice CGA screen. I love green screens. It's totally useless. But it was VAN's pants at the time. I hope you enjoy my euphemisms. I normally don't say them to people who don't understand them. But being English, or British, should I say? Well, I'm not anyway. But I speak like I could be. But that's just... We came up with these.
Oh. Right. Yep.
Okay. What are they? What the hell is this old fool talking about? He had used a backward or a reverse projection of my data, which was 1800 to 1977.
Mm-hmm.
He reversed the exponentials of it, to use a quick term, to flatten out all the curves in it. Right. So you've only had minor curves.
Right.
Which gave a better idea of periodicity. These are all different curves of the different planets, which align with the curves and time periods of my phenomenal events. We worked out there was a peak of 515-year orbit 515 years in this data that occurred when major events occurred.
Right.
Right.
Then it went down to 90 years, 79 years, I think 60 years. It's been so long since I read this. So I don't talk about this beginning stuff anymore. People want me to talk about Bigfoot and UFO and the Great Cataclysm and the rest. But this is the mechanics, and this is the fun part. So you're getting a bit of it.
Excellent.
That's fine.
And sometimes I forget what I'm talking about too, which makes it complex. What then, if these things are tallying with the same time periods as the major planets within 10 years? We're discussing gigantic dynamos, constantly whirling, metal core, outer plate, electric field, electromagnetic field, all interreacting.
Right, yeah.
Sine waves, electromagnetic sine waves again. And then we thought, 515 years, we don't have one of those planets. Or do we?
Okay.
We proposed using this that 515 years, which was equivalent to 515 astronomical units, as an astronomical unit is the distance from the Earth to the Sun, was going to be, within bounds, a trans-Plutonian planetary orbit. We called her Persephone.
Okay.
Persephone, yeah.
We called her Persephone. Nobody was interested in Persephone. But it's interesting that 2 months later, Siding Springs Observatory, you try saying that quickly, in Australia.
Oh, when you're drunk.
All right.
Yeah, it's probably easier. Siding Springs made a great discovery. There's a trans-Plutonian planet out there. We've found it. Yeehaw! We've found it. And it's between 400 and 600 astronomical units. Excuse me, that's like me saying, I found a town up in Livermore, and it's somewhere between San Francisco and Beijing.
Yeah.
It's really narrowing it down.
Yeah.
It also helped, oddly enough, explain why Neptune went inside Uranus's orbit every now and again, because there is an anomaly with Neptune's orbit. Remember, orbits are elliptical.
Yeah.
So the ellipses move, and every now and again one will cross over the other one.
Yeah.
Because of the gravitational field of this one. It all fitted together. It just made a conundrum grow into a bigger mystery. A series of conundrums. But we had no error factor. No error factor. 515 astronomical units was where it was. These days, with modern computers and more, a lot of the data got turned into noise because of the computers of the day.
Yeah.
They couldn't get below the Jupiter orbit. These days, hopefully, if somebody could do it, we could go below Jupiter. We could possibly go to Earth orbit.
Right.
All just with data. Because funny thing about archaeology, and these things all meld together, and so do my interviews, so bear with me. Why did a lot of the ancient civilizations move their major temples every 56 years? Not silly little civilizations, talking major advanced civilizations such as the Maya.
Yeah.
The Aztecs. A lot of the Central American civilizations. One period, this is standing there, we're sacrificing people to Huitzilopochtli or whoever we wish to. And we all were. It wasn't just an isolated event on one part of a continent. It was just what they did.
Yeah.
It was regarded as an honor to be taken, an honor to meet the gods. But it was every 56 years. 56 years is the period of a perihelion of Venus.
Right.
It's a difficult term to comprehend. But basically, Venus returns to the same position every 56 years.
Right,
relative to the Earth. And that's when they doused all the fires in all the houses, all the temples, everything. Waited for this period of death, they called it, to pass over 3 days, if I remember rightly.
Right.
And then if the earth was still here, we started lighting fires again, wiped the sweat off our brows, killed a few more people,
Yeah.
and moved to another spot.
Rinse and repeat.
Because we'd survived. We had survived. We'd built these pyramids to venerate this power.
Yeah.
This power that was going to come and kill us every 56 years. And that was also found in mythologies and traditions worldwide in a lot of cases. And I thought, this is astronomy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we know they were great at astronomy. I mean, the Maya, if I remember rightly, had the length of the year down to 6 decimal places. They were lucky. They had the concept of zero.
Right.
Western mathematics didn't have the concept of zero.
No.
It came from India via Islam. They brought the concept of zero. Without zero, you don't have modern digital mathematics.
No.
Right, okay.
Yeah, we're all getting along so far because there's a comprehension test after it.
Yeah. A couple of people have been asking, is there a test at the end?
Should I be taking notes?
I said, yeah, you'll get an MVQ A-level certificate if you pass.
So you can see where I'm going. I found all this random stuff that isn't random anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
And then it gets stranger. Yes. People say when they've talked to me before, or they read my books, and they say, just when I've got to the point to say, yes, this is right, this is the answer, this is it, we've got it, we're right. I come in from left field, but you forgot to allow for this.
Yeah.
It's like one of those horrid schoolmasters at school. And
Yeah.
you think you succeeded, and you're great, and you've done it. Excuse me, Simpkins.
Yeah.
You haven't noticed a participle over here, have you? No, sir.
Yeah.
We all know that feeling. So crawl back to the back of a room until you've got it done. I would have made a good housemaster. Never was. Things got weirder. We got this validation of this. One day we must get around to putting this into a slideshow format, but I tried doing it once and I think I lost people completely.
Right.
I must try and find out how to interpose? Stick them in. Yeah.
Yeah. Stick them in, that'll do.
Stick them in. Yeah, the new English literature, we're getting dumber and dumber.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember a period when one had to be a grandiloquent and verbose.
Yes.
Now a lot of people can't even understand either term, let alone the wonderful world of obfuscation.
Yeah.
But fortunately, politicians still speak that fluently.
Yeah, they do. Very fluently.
Yes, obfuscation, a beautiful word.
Yes.
So, okay, we've got sine waves moving around in the world, and if you get in the right spot and the right time, you'll either meet Madonna in blue. They like blue as well. Figure that one out. Or they meet wandering around by any multitude of names.
Yeah.
Or and it's good old Orthon with the blonde hair from Venus, or a grey, or pick your poison.
Yeah.
What is the third part of the equation? Time, space, the observer.
Right.
The third constant is there is an observer or group of observers. Without him,
nothing exists.
It's not worth a scrap.
No.
It's not worth a beggar's promise. So what are they observing? What are they observing? Let's look at it in mental terms. And why are people observing these goddamn things when they hit this particular intersection of energy? Do these things exist? Are they there? Are they not there? But they're being observed. They're observed in similar shape, size, colour, smell, features, characteristics worldwide. As far as we know, when they've been elsewhere to study phenomena. What are they observing? And why are some observing it in the group and some others not observing it in the group?
Yeah.
A simple example. Oh, an example. Ariel School. I'm sure you've heard of it. ARIEL. School sighting. Oh, God, I can't remember the date. It was in Africa.
Yep.
In Zimbabwe, if I remember rightly. It's a private school. So I think it might have been 83. I really should turn this other monitor on and find out. Actually, I'll do that now. It saves looking like, oh, hello, you've gone. Where are you? How do I get back to you?
You're here. You're there.
Yeah.
Oh, thank God for that. I'm not turning the other bloody thing on. Right. Anyway, I just want to open another screen. I'll go to this screen. I've got two huge monitors here I work with constantly. So bear with me. We'll move this to over here. Oh, come on, you delicate worded thing. Right. Yeah, I promised my wife I wouldn't swear anymore. She was a bit upset with my earlier language, which is understandable.
When someone woke you up.
Yeah.
These things happen. No, she was already up. She's a morning owl.
Yeah, she did say she'd not been to sleep yet, so.
Okay. Ariel School UFO incident. Isn't it great? September 16th, 1994, outside Rua in Zimbabwe, 62 students at the Ariel School, aged between 6 and 12, claimed that they saw one or more silver craft descend from the sky and land on a field near their school.
Yes.
Yeah.
One or more creatures dressed all in black that approached the children and, come on Wikipedia, open up, and telepathically communicated with them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. It's a school sighting. We've had lots of them. Segerberg, 1874, I think, in Hamburg. Sorry, that's pre-UFO age. We can't count it. Oh, bugger. Lots of them. Somehow our phenomena have an older history than we thought. Ariel. Ariel is one of the best examples for validating another answer to another question. Here are these kiddies. They're in school next second. I love making that noise. Not only when my lips are moist. Well, let's see noise we associate. That's UFOs. We know that. We learned it on the Jetsons.
Yeah.
Yeah. They all see these things. I want to get images. Actually, can you post images from your screens?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I can't really do it here. Okay. It was a UFO incident. Kids saw a UFO. Black garb creatures came down, telepathically said things and left. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
20 years later, they did an experiment.
Okay.
I think it was a gentleman from Cambridge or Leeds, I can't remember. Went to the school, went to the kids who had been at the school and interviewed them again.
Yeah.
And asked them, what did you see? Draw what you saw. Because at the time, the kids drew what they saw.
Yeah.
The interesting thing is, they all saw different things.
Yeah, right.
They didn't see a ubiquitous single model orphan from Venus UFO sitting there. They saw one with 2 windows, 3 windows, 2 legs, 3 legs, more round bits, other bits. And our UFOs were hominoids, or UFO hominoids as I call them, were slightly different as well. But okay, we are seeing things. We're seeing things. They're leaving traces. They're certainly leaving impressions. But why are they all seeing different things? And fortunately, recording them. And these wonderful drawings, if you go to Bigfoot, if you go to Google and just put up Ariel School sighting images, and you get hundreds of images.
Yeah, I've just found one now. I'm just about to put up. There you go.
Okay, check them out. They're all different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're all different.
Yeah.
And that brought me up to the original story. What do people see? What do they experience? What do they feel? What do they smell? What do they touch?
Yeah.
These things have a physical manifestation. It's not as if we're seeing holograms. These things are interacting.
Yeah.
And the data I used were always interactive data events. Always 3 sources. I wasn't going to do a massive list of worldwide phenomena and find it. Oh, this is all crap. It wouldn't have been good. My postulate in this regard is this window or portal we like to call them now, opened.
Yeah.
And, oh, I love it, came down. And the cultural loading of the observer took over.
Yeah.
The cultural loading of the observer said, I have to convert this into something rapidly that my brain can understand.
Yeah.
And my history and my memory can understand, or I'm going to go stark raving mad. It is a brain protection thing.
Yeah.
It is a consciousness protecting thing. So it adjusts this image to what it believes itself to see.
Right.
So that's why in a lot of cases you go to Poland, you go to Spain, you go to some of the Central American countries, talk about Madonnas in trees, they have an annual harvest of them. Strong religious background. It's a mythology they grew up with. Scientific people, apparently, in Jetson's vernacular of the civilized 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. Logical, reasonable people. God damn it, we are reasonable people. Are seeing intelligent aliens from out there bringing great messages of joy or destruction. Good, we can understand them. We're just creating our gods in our own image. It's all great stuff.
Yeah.
We've been doing that for millions of years. And hunters and fishermen are seeing all varieties of lake monsters, hairy humanoids, etc., etc., etc. We think, solved, excellent, solved, done.
Yep.
No. It's like a bloody chess game, isn't it?
It is, yeah. You're right.
I hope I'm not going too fast for you. Sometimes I go too fast for myself.
I've just found
aren't they wonderful? Aren't they beautiful?
They are.
These kids, to get this library of knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
Children aren't
so
totally
strange when
stupid.
they were all stood together and they all interpreted it totally differently.
Yeah.
Yes, and you find that in a lot of cases, in the rare events where you have multiple sightings like this, and kids are good because kids don't lie.
No.
They're not trying to be interpreters with a cultural paradigm that they're actually loading into it.
No.
It's just, okay then, what are we looking at?
What did I see?
Yeah.
What did they see? What are the common parameters again?
Yeah.
Again, it's like Teletubbies. Again. I like the Teletubbies. I must be brain dead sometimes. Or was it just exposure to them? No, I don't go out of my way to watch them.
That's what you tell us.
They just occur by osmosis over the years. You all know what I mean if you've got kids.
Yeah.
Osmosis. Okay. What have we got here? What are the common factors again? Okay, the most common factor, let's say UFO sightings. Light.
Yeah.
Light is a very fast movement of the subatomic particles.
Yeah.
But they're getting liberated. Okay, light and time. Energy and time. Okay. Now let's bring left field. So left field, it's off the other side of the field.
Right.
It's now on the right at the same time, which will give you a better understanding. There are 5 states of matter. Solid doesn't do much, just sits there. Very, very little electromagnetic movement. Just unless you're a block of U-235 or something, it's a bit faster. But basically, it just sits there. It gets agitated after a while and it becomes a liquid. Yes, I know we all did this in first year at school, or year 11 if we go modern education system.
Yeah.
Don't get that, but
No, I don't either.
Oh, year 7, yes. And then they agitate more and they become liquids. Okay, here we go.
yeah,
And then, apart from water, which is a wild card in its own right, eventually they become solids. No, sorry, gases.
Gases, yeah.
Yay, except for water, which has 2 boiling points. But let's just put that aside like any good scientist.
Yeah.
There's probably another element in there no one's worked out yet. The hypothesis testing of science. Oh, we'll get onto that. That's another subject one other day. I can go off on that like it's going out of fashion. If Lavoisier oxygen versus the concept of phlogiston and the differences in... I know, I've absorbed so much crap over the years. Good stuff. Okay, we're gas. Yay! It's what we breathe. It's what's around us. It makes life far, far easier. And then we got a fourth one. Hey? What fourth one, you silly old git? What fourth one?
Yeah, what fourth one?
What fourth one? Children, now listen closely.
Yes. Pay attention now.
Pay attention. You in the back. None of that. None of that. No jelly rolls for morning tea. You understand? That's how they used to do it at boarding school. And they were a treat too. We didn't have them that often. The fourth one is plasma.
Right.
No, that's blood stuff. It's plasma.
There we go.
We call it plasma.
Rick Allen has won a gold star.
Plasma.
Well done, Rick.
What's occurring at the centre of a nuclear explosion? The state of matter is so agitated, it has virtually no form. You can't differentiate which thing is which in the centre of a nuclear explosion. It is so agitated. The electrons and everything, protons, neutrons, are separated. It is free-floating matter. But bloody hell, you're not going to walk into the centre of a nuclear explosion, are you?
Oh.
No.
No.
Well, you don't want to. You wouldn't do it very often. But you can get cold plasma. Cold plasma waves. Yes. Bugger all heat.
Right.
And it's because of vibrations and harmonics of sine waves or electromagnetic fields that are breaking up. And I mean literally breaking up, but they're staying cold.
Right.
There are some interesting quantum experiments in quantum physics where you could study the atom, the substructure of the atom, and it would obey and confirm your results.
Right.
Subject to whether you believed in a linear sequence of atomic structure or a round sequence of atomic structure. Both answers were there.
Yeah.
Was the observer influencing the structure when there's no electromagnetic bond? Okay. Now we've learned about plasma. What the hell am I talking about with the fifth state of matter?
Yes. What is the fifth state?
Oh no, Andy's gone to the toilet. He's going to miss it. Hello, Andy.
I am here. I've just got to take some painkillers.
Oh, sorry, I didn't know I was that bad.
No.
You're the first interviewer that's ever said that.
Sorry.
Apart from when they said, curse you and never darken my door again. But
I'll do it on air. It's fine.
the fifth state of matter is the quasar vacuum.
Right.
Do we have any concept of what a quasar vacuum is?
No.
No idea.
Okay, it's a vacuum.
Clue.
A quasar vacuum is when all the atomic particles and bits and mesons, protons, you name it, have no magnetic bonding at all. There's nothing there. It's gone, and they're heading off into everywhere.
Right. So there's
into
nothing
the other
than
dimensions. There is no form, no semblance, no periodic table. There is nothing. It is pure energy and matter together.
Right.
what happens if a mind comes along, an observant mind, even a non-observant, well, it has to be really observant, even amoeba observe to some degree. And don't knock amoeba.
No.
They're responsible for killing billions of people. Yeah. What if we could meet this freeform energy? Now, that would really blow your mind, literally.
Yeah.
You're just wandering along, you're a bit tired, it's 2 o'clock in the morning, you haven't been up all night coning or anything, you're relatively all right, you're just tired.
Yeah.
You meet this energy form that you might not recognize, but something in your brain does and says, oh, what the F is happening here?
Yeah.
And once again, we go back to it is going to create something, and it creates something, and it creates division.
Right.
To protect itself. But it's got this freeform energy here. It is creating it in the physical realm.
Right.
I know this all sounds far-fetched. I'm just putting forward postulates.
Yeah.
So we have footprints. So we have burn marks. So we have odd bits of metal. So we have people who, oh dear, that was a rectal probe and I wasn't enjoying it. You know, they could have taken me to dinner first or something, but then again, who knows what they ate.
Yeah.
Ask politely.
Yeah, ask politely. Or at least give me a kiss beforehand. See, we're still following perfect logic.
Yeah.
None of the logic has wavered. None of the logic has changed. But we've got what seems to be a preposterous ending. That people are creating their own phenomena in their cultural image. In many of the cases. Because the major manifestation in a lot of these events is light.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That light is very fast electromagnetic movement. That's what light is. It's nothing else. You get it to super fast like a quasar vacuum. 2 questions occur. One is, do things come in and out of that dimension?
Yeah.
Right.
1 second we're here, 1 second, no shit, we weren't actually creating something with our mind. What the F is that and what's it doing here in my lounge room? Or my bedroom or the crossroads near Lower Frogmore?
Yeah.
I've always never trusted that place. Or here. Could other civilizations, to use a loose term, let's say, apparently intelligent life forms with an ability to technically advance and enhance or improve their surroundings or their capabilities. That's probably the best way of putting it. What if they know how to do this? Let's go through the portal. Go through, reassemble, come out. Or actually reassemble on the other side. Because in time and space, I'll give you an example. Do we all know the Mobius strip?
No.
It's a Mobius strip. M-O-B-I-U-S. It's a figure 8.
Oh,
right. You did that at sides, you cut it out, and you draw a line on it, and that line's on both sides. But I only drew on one side.
Right.
Weird. Because you twist it, it becomes an 8.
Yeah.
And kids love looking at it, and then just running a line along it, and it's on both sides. It's one-dimensional.
Yeah.
What if for time and space we go straight through the middle where they join? Because they're both the same side.
Yeah.
No time. No space. We aren't wasting 5,000 years to go to Alpha Centauri, our closest constellation.
Yeah.
What an expensive, tedious process. Yes, Mobius strip, the infinity symbol.
Infinity, that's the word.
We all knew what we were looking at to begin with, but forgot, like many things, like the 56-year Venusian cycle. We forgot, or the local padre knocked it out of our heads as superstitious nonsense.
Yeah.
And in many cases, it was a residue of science, a residue of great science.
Yeah.
We're going through the center of the infinity symbol. We don't have to travel the multiverse for years at a time. Look at UFOs. There are books written on the shape of UFOs.
Yeah.
Right, there are round ones, stone ones, big ones, rock-like ones.
Yeah.
I've seen them. Lots and lots and lots of them. Oh, God's sake. What civilization would be wealthy enough to create an individual UFO for you with custom fittings to travel 5,000 years at phenomenal expense after a massive infrastructure was created on your home world to produce this thing to come here?
Yeah.
Even the pyramids at a pinch were probably as much as the Egyptian population could bear
Yeah.
as far as economic master plans and mega structures. But I can't see or visualize any civilization of any advanced order producing a spaceship that travelled 5,000 years to come to here just so somebody could have a joyride and crash into a billboard in Pennsylvania, which has happened.
Yeah.
Another strange accident. L-platers or learner platers
Yeah.
come all the way from Alpha Centauri and they crash into a billboard. Yeah. But what if we're just coming out of the quasar vacuum and, oh dear, there's a billboard, whack.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It's
Yeah.
right on top of you, no chance to stop.
No chance to stop. You are there. Because you've just come through a concept of non-space and non-time.
Yeah.
Because there's no space or time in the quasar vacuum.
No. Oh.
And as Andy's arm said, ta-da!
Ta-da.
Andy, show us your arm. Wake up, Andy.
I am. I was
There you go.
thinking
Very
which arm
good.
it was.
He was slow at school, but he was a good learner in subjects that interested him.
Yeah.
Mirrored. Yeah.
No, sorry, I shouldn't be so rude.
No,
Yeah,
but
well,
you're
no
right.
far be interviewers.
I'm used
Okay.
to it, don't worry.
Yeah.
But it gives you the chance to sit back and observe whilst you're being...
There we go.
Let's say there's an old saying I use, which is always be thought a fool, then people will underestimate you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, we have something coming through the quasar vacuum to here. Hopefully it misses the billboard or the other UFO or whatever, and vice versa, and other denizens that may come in and out. And I wish I knew what I was talking about at the moment. Just
Has
bear
it
with
gone?
me. Darling, could you get me another coffee, please? I'm just
Go on,
referring
Dad.
to she who must be obeyed.
He wants a coffee.
Yes.
Get a
I
coffee.
need a coffee.
I'll tell you what, George.
No, I'm fine. It's being done.
We'll have a 4-minute break and then people can go to the loo and what have you, and then we'll come
Yes,
back.
yes.
We'll ask you some
Is that
questions.
all right?
Yeah, feel free. But I barely started.
I know.
That's fine.
I'm hooked.
We've got forever.
Thank you.
Right.
We've got
4
forever.
minutes.
Information needs to be given out. It's
It does,
important.
you're right.
Discoveries. Like I write books, and as you know, lots of books. I'm working on a 28-volume set at the moment.
Wow.
Yeah. Nobody else has done it. I've written more on UFOs and hairy humanoids than anyone else in the world. And you ask people in Australia, they've never heard of me.
That's weird. Well, at least you know more.
You ask people in Canada, they know me.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
get interviews from Canada quite often.
Yeah.
And the States. You're my first pommy one, to use an Australian term. Prisoner of Mother England. Yes. The original meaning.
Yeah.
And,
Right, we'll be back in 4 minutes.
okay.
Yep.
4 minutes then.
So-
Thank you.
See you all soon.
I hope so.
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
And we're back.
Hello.
Hello again.
Hello, my
Hello.
name's George Mitrovic and I'm an author. Oh, no, we've already been through that part.
We've got some
Instead
questions.
of interest, infinity.
Ah,
Ah,
We
yeah.
can't see it very well.
yeah, I can make
Just.
it out.
Yeah, just.
Very good taste.
Right, we've got some
Well.
questions. So,
Oh,
first one's from Rick Allen. Does George think Yowie sightings are on the increase and why?
Yowies I love. I may have to bore you for a few minutes with Yowies, but I'm sure you'll allow for it.
Oh, yeah.
Yes and no. Yes and no. But that's a simplistic answer, and I never do simplistic answers. And let me tell you about Yowies, hairy hominoids, Bigfoots, duergards, you name it. About 2 years ago, I was being interviewed from New York about hairy humanoids or Bigfoot. That was it. Nothing else. Only them. Because they love the subject in the States. And they didn't like my answers. Because I had 3 answers on what are Yowies or Bigfoot or whatever.
Yeah,
and I said, well, there are 3 types. There's one, which I believe to be a large anthropoid ape with a domed head like Gigantopithecus. And some people don't like that concept. They want them to be out there, not there, behind a tree, perfectly blended in. And they said there are 2 simple anthropological explanations. And you Americans are so bloody coy, you refuse to observe them. And the interviewer said, what do you mean, George? I said, one of the most common features of a Yowie or Bigfoot sighting is the 2 observers or single observer got out of their car in the woods late at the night to relieve themselves or have a whittle. But the Americans are so coy in this regard. Okay, so what is that to do with anything? Because that is when whatever it was started throwing rocks, screaming, yelling and jumping up and down because somebody was marking on its territory.
Yeah.
Remember, this is ape behavior. We're just big monkeys as well.
Yeah.
You know, people might not like that concept. We're another type of anthropoid ape.
Yeah.
And we're whittling on their territory, which they've already marked as theirs.
Yeah.
Of course they're going to be upset.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
You know, this is textbook anthropoid ape stuff, not evolved orphan from Venus stuff or anything. It's just a big monkey that's very aware of us and has decided it's not going to have much to do with us. And it succeeds in that when you look at the number of hunters who go out and try and kill them and never get them.
Yeah.
Very rare to find a legitimate death of a hairy hominoid. And the other thing, another anthropological thing is Dusty and Mary are in the woods courting, as the Americans say. A lovely term.
Yeah.
We know what they're doing, and it's not, studying for the ASATs or anything. We know what they're doing in the middle of the woods in their car or whatever, and suddenly somebody appears, and they just appear and just watch them. That's anthropoid ape behavior. So how have these evolved highly sentient beings? They're just a natural being in this regard. In these ones that react to humans in this way of reacting madly. But unfortunately for that theory, there are 2 other types.
Okay.
There's also the Bigfoot, which the Amerindians, for example, in North America believe comes from the other world, or the Aborigines regard as coming from the dream time. Suddenly we got our quasi-vacuum involved again. Do we have 2 types? Do we have a Wendigo, and we have a natural one? And I thought, okay, that's a good answer to all of it.
Yeah.
It's a great answer, except for one anomaly. And it started in France in 1956, October, I think it's October 4th or 5th, and continued once again in the late 60s in Pennsylvania and Connecticut, where we have the UFOs again. Yes, we'll do the noise. And out of it does not come Orphon from Venus with his long blonde hair and his radiance. In the French cases, out came a 4.5 to 5 foot tall furry thing.
Yeah.
I want my money back. I'm going to be meeting someone to discuss the space and the universe. This is Chewbacca's little brother. 30 years before Star Wars.
Yeah.
Even before the book was written.
Yeah.
And then in the 60s, we get the full-size version, 7 to 9 foot. Once again, it's landed, and out comes a Bigfoot, or several big feet, or Bigfoots. I've had arguments with people over this term. I prefer big feet. It's more grammatically correct, but some people like Bigfoots.
No,
Bigfoots.
Doesn't
I'd hate
sound
to have a
right.
lift.
Yeah.
Not that there's anything against people with lifts, but trying to say Bigfoots all the time is ridiculous.
Right.
So we have 3 types. The natural one hiding in the shrubs, recorded since time immemorial. The oldest one in Australia, the oldest sighting by white colonists, for some strange reason, please disregard Aboriginal sightings and Amerindian sightings, was 1800 at Sydney Cove, when our little prison camp was first being set up. Oh, sorry, our early colony was being set up.
Yeah.
A Yowie was seen. And I don't think the convicts under military guard in Sydney Harbour were the most literate or scientifically adept people.
No.
They're basically poor people sentenced to Australia for their crimes after their lands were stolen by the Fencing Act of the late 19th century, or the Enclosure Act, I think, if I remember rightly. But that's another story. That's a horrendous part of British history. Real estate and the British, it's a very, very nasty subject.
Yeah.
Ask the Irish and the Scots and the Bairns and the Crofters who were evicted from Scotland, the Irish who were evicted from Ireland, and the English who were evicted from their farms in England. They didn't care.
No.
It was pure early capitalism, but that's another story.
Yeah.
So they saw a big hairy thing that the local Aboriginal population said it was a pretty normal thing. It's called a Yowie. Once again, your Yowie. They are on the increase, and the problem with Yowie sightings on the increase, including the ones and the Wendigo ones that come from the other dimension, is they get less reported.
Yeah.
Because in the 50s and 60s, you saw a Yowie or a Dooligard or whatever. Wow. Now I can look at sites around the world, local UFO groups, and they're all recording meeting one.
Yeah.
And lots of people are recording seeing UFO humanoids. More. But I don't know what it means. How are we growing our consciousness relative to our existence? Now here's where we start thinking together into new realms. Because I do a lot of my thinking while I'm doing interviews. Because it's churning it up at the time, and it's good. It's like, we've had all the carrots and the broccoli and everything in there, but, what's the next ingredient that's going to make this a success? Why are we having an upsurge? And immediately we'll get, it's the age of Aquarius, or it's the end of a Kali Yuga, or it's, please insert mythological name here.
Yeah.
What is happening? On the geophysical level, or geocosmological level, because I also write books on geological things. Oh, they're all over the bloody place. Where are they? And when you stack them like that, you can't get them out. I remember writing a little book one day, and I do that every now and again. I just sit down and say, I want to write a book on this. Because I haven't found anyone that... I don't write for intellectuals.
Right.
Okay.
I'm not interested. I say to people, if I want to study the fish hooks on the east side of Mauna Loa, I would spend the rest of my life studying the fishhooks of Mauna Loa, and the only person interested will be the guy on the other side of the island who says his are different. And who will spend? And who is going to have a combined readership of nil? Because we've both got opposing viewpoints.
Yeah.
We're not going to read each other's work.
No.
I write guidebooks. All my books are guidebooks. A lot of my archaeology ones, they tell you the county to go to, the state to go to, the place to go to. Go and look at this thing.
Yeah.
Research this thing. Go on the internet. We have the greatest repository of information we have ever amassed, and it is available to us. At last. This is more important than Gutenberg and his printed Bible.
Yeah.
More important than the invention of paper, without which Gutenberg's Bible would never be printed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have knowledge. We still have to sift it. But we have knowledge. Yeah, I wrote this little one. When the sky crashed down.
Yeah.
I thought no one's ever written a complete list of meteoric or cometary impacts on Earth that leave craters over 1 kilometre in size.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not everyone's idea of a fun book. It's one of my biggest selling books.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just simple. It starts at 3,300 million years ago. And that sort of forms, and that sort of reading you'll get on it. A few paragraphs, a description, and then you get to the second one. Or actually the third one. The biggest one was 6,500 million years ago. We eventually get 3 major impacts later, 3,260,000 BC. Why do I like that one? It's called the Barberton Impact. The Barberton Impact in South Africa. Oh, get in there. I'll stay there then. Barberton Impact created the greenstone belts of South Africa. It was around 3,260 million years ago. It left a crater about 60 kilometres wide. A good-sized crater.
Yeah.
Same size as Chicxulub, would you believe? The one that apparently killed the dinosaurs.
Right.
And I'm going to stay with apparently.
Yeah.
Barberton, I was looking for something to flesh out these boring reports of this report of 260 million years ago that an impact event occurred where a 60-kilometre wide crater was created here. Go to next subject.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I dozed off while I was writing it. I thought, anything else happened at Barberton? So I looked at Barberton, and a little byline on the internet said, the oldest bacterial fossils on Earth were discovered at Barberton, dating from 3,260 million years ago. Hang on. That's too great for synchronicity.
Yeah.
The same date, the same event. And the event? Let me tell you about comets. Comets are big mud balls. They're ice and mud and crap floating around in space. They're beautiful because you don't get solar radiation inside them.
Yeah.
They're not solid objects, so bacteria and things can live in them. The temperatures are lower. So they're the perfect bacterial express passenger freightliners travelling the multiverse.
Yeah.
Barberton, I wrote at the time, was evidence for panspermia, the oldest site of life on Earth, due to a meteorite crater. Within 24 hours of publishing this book, and it's 700 pages, it's not the sort of thing you whip over in an evening.
No.
Within 24 hours, there was a letter on Amazon of 1.5 pages stating what a pile of non-scientific crap. It hasn't been peer-reviewed. Don't read it. Don't go near it. And they went on and on and on and on and on. And I thought, this has bitten him on the bum beautifully.
Yeah.
He's validated everything I've written.
Yeah.
I thought, great. And a lot of people wrote in and said, yes, the way he carried on, this scientific writer, whoever he was, it bit him on the bum, which means there must be something to it.
Yeah.
Because we have a history of impacts, which no one hears about. You might hear about Tunguska. Great. You don't hear about the thousands of others.
No.
And that book has all the thousands of others.
Yeah.
Right up to the last major impact event. And that was 10,900 BC to around 8,000 BC. That was an impact event.
Right.
That was the period of the alleged destruction of Atlantis in whoever's theory of history you wish to read. It's also the beginning of Göbekli Tepe.
Yeah.
It's also the end of the glacial period, when the glaciers didn't just sort of, oh, we've been glaciers for 100,000 years, we'll just melt now.
Yeah.
Excuse me? It doesn't work like that. We have a sudden and cataclysmic drop of sea levels by 300 to 400 feet in a very short period.
Yeah.
We have the destruction of the ice masses of North America, because the North Pole was at Hudson Bay.
Right.
If you bring up a picture of Hudson Bay, you've got a perfect circle on the right.
Right.
Yeah.
You've got a few little rocky bits in the middle. Look it up on Google. They are the central uplift of a meteorite impact. There was an ad that used to run for years. I don't know if it ran in England. It was a Cadbury ad, so it probably was. I love Cadbury's. Nice chocolate. I don't eat much of it anymore, being a diabetic, but I get into one every now and again. One rabbit. Sorry, Andy, did not survive Easter. And they splashed something into a glass of milk, and you had the central part of the milk rise up.
Oh, yeah.
In the case of central uplifts, that's where they solidify.
Right.
And that's Hudson Bay. That impact was strong enough to go through 2 kilometres of ice.
Yeah.
And shatter it. And hit the Earth at the same moment, 26.5 degrees. So the North Pole was now in Greenland.
Right.
In its present location, north of Greenland. Because in this period, where are we? Where did I put it? I do tend to get carried away at times. The large ring, about 1,500 k's across, the little dot in the middle is Bermuda.
Right.
The circumference of the impact event is the ring around it.
Right.
There was a massive impact event. This is the book, The Great Cataclysm. It is on this particular event.
Yeah.
And one of the best spots to see what happened, I know, we should really pull these out. Do you see those blue circles?
Yeah. Oh,
the big one is Bermuda, and
Yeah.
then you get smaller ones. Then heading towards Alaska up the top, smaller again.
Yeah. Can see them.
Okay. This is a teardrop event, which I discovered years ago, which nobody else discovered because nobody liked the concept of a teardrop event. They didn't like the concept of multiple meteoric impacts, which makes sense. They come in meteor showers. They don't come as a meteor one thing.
Yeah.
And they were validated in 1994 and 1996. Hale-Bopp comet crashed into Jupiter, and it had the same thing. Big impact, smaller impacts as it broke up more to much smaller impacts.
Yeah.
It creates a teardrop. And it was running from the east and heading northwest, because we always turn into the impact event.
Right.
So we've had the Earth tilt. We've had Hudson Bay broken. We have shards of ice and debris showering the Earth.
Yeah.
As far as the Carolinas, Georgia, you name it, parts of Wyoming, parts of Wisconsin, all the same equidistance, and Russia, all the same equidistance from Hudson Bay.
Right.
They created features called the Carolina Bays, which are elliptical lakes and features. The ellipses all face away from this impact event that destroyed the glaciers. And the best way of looking at them is the near side to the event has almost no rim. The far side to the event has a rim. It's a skid pattern.
Yeah.
And it melted because it's ice and dirt and crap. So we have evidence of this gigantic movement. And what happened was, oh no, Deb's run away again. I'm sorry, Deb. What happened was, at the same time, with this tilt, remember, the climate always stays in the same areas. The isotherms always stay in the same regions.
Yeah.
The planet might move, but the isotherm stays there. It's always going to be a cold bit here and a cold bit here, except in a cryogenic period when the cold bit is everywhere. Oddly enough, that book I wrote explained how meteoric impacts started and ended ice ages and cryogenic periods by the impact smashing through things. Natural order. Meanwhile, in Siberia, and not Jukebox in Siberia, which was a popular song many years ago. Meanwhile, in Siberia, there are creatures who inhabit savanna grasslands, but with lots of birch trees and alder trees and oak trees.
Yeah.
Temperate climate lands with normal modern trees. They're called mammoths.
Yeah.
They don't live in the snow. You can't feed snow to a mammoth. It won't live. You can't give it half a ton of snow a day, which is what it required to eat.
Yeah.
Won't survive. Neither will mastodons. Neither will anything else. These creatures lived in temperate tree lands.
Yeah.
Not frozen, inhospitable wastes. But can you imagine this poor creature? And we found them. Oh, they've got prehensile lips as well, like the Indian elephant, not shovel-like lips like the African elephant. Indian elephants are designed to eat leaves.
Right.
African elephants can, but they prefer eating grass.
Right.
It's just adaptation. I don't use the term evolution. I use the term adaptation. Things adapt to survive or they don't survive.
Yeah.
Or if their adaptation is successful, their species, they don't have to continue on. I just asked for Japanese horseshoe crab. Hasn't evolved for 450 million years.
Yeah.
No, I haven't been charged by a yowie or a cryptid, but I have seen some interesting creatures over time. I did my travel through studying data everywhere. And I'm not sure if I want to. But with the yowie, not the yowie, the mammoths,
yeah,
we're looking at this earth tilt. Siberia, which was here, has now gone, it's shifted up. Because the remains of the mammoths, mastodons and everything else are encased in ice, mud, dirt and tree roots and remains.
Yeah.
They're not just happily sitting there doing nothing and just dropping dead on the spot. They were destroyed in tidal waves of mud. Because something moved. They were in the wrong climate at the wrong time.
Yeah.
And they died in most cases. They still reckon by 4000 BC there was still a few in North America.
Yeah.
What that has to do with UFOs and hairy humanoids, well, it's all to do with living on this planet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That these amazing events occurred, and I've written books on each of them. And that was because the question I had in my mind was, what happened to the mammoths?
Yeah.
And I found it out. Okay, let's have some questions now. I'd like to have seen a yowie. I think I saw a dwarf thing once, but I wasn't sure.
Right.
And I thought years ago I was dreaming when I was little, I thought I met a creature outside the house at our property in Australia.
Yeah.
That was a weird thing, and the sky was bright red at the time, and it was midnight or something. I'd gone out of the French doors of the house into the backyard because I wanted to look at the sky. And you know what? I didn't dare go outside for the next 20 years. So maybe I did see something. Maybe it did affect me.
Possibly.
And maybe it even gave me the impetus to start my research.
Could have done.
Yeah.
Quite
It could
easily.
have done because I think I was only 7 or something.
Yeah.
Ah, ley lines. Yes. Have you ever looked at an old street map?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you try and drive on it now,
Yeah.
you find it won't work in a lot of cases because the streets have moved.
That's true.
Yep.
Congratulations to my view of ley lines.
Ah.
Because with these sine waves, which is for all these electromagnetic areas,
Yeah.
Yeah.
they move. As I said to people, 30 years ago at a UFO convention, I said, you can spend the rest of your life sitting in the main chamber of the Great Pyramid and nothing's going to happen.
Yeah.
It doesn't work anymore. It was built to work then,
Yes.
when the power source was there.
Yeah.
It's gone. Because it constantly moves, and all of our phenomena are created by this constantly shifting set of ley lines. You could call it, shifting ley lines. And the geodesic people don't like that. They draw wonderful graphs of a fixed Earth with fixed grids, and they're pretty grids. I've seen them, lovely maps, but the damn things move, which is what they won't allow. So unfortunately, they are wonderful for sighting churches and hills and the rest of it, and tours and dolmens and whatever, but their time is gone. The power link is gone from there.
Yeah.
How are we going there?
Sorry.
Oops, I missed that one. It was too quick.
All right. Sorry. I slipped.
The same source is the energy system, but that might not necessarily be a precise locality source. It is a phenomena or a phenomenon of these waves. What happens when you get 2, 3 or 5, and we're still researching that, coming together and harmonizing together like a piano?
Yeah.
That's where the real stuff works, but it's only on that spot for that time. Because as that resonance ends, gone. If you're clever enough to say, yes, it's happening every few months at this spot for 5 years or 10 years, we need to get to that level of expertise with my data so we can actually create the portals to the multiverse. And one of the reasons I want to do that, and I want to see it done before I fall off the perch, a lot of the ancient cultures based their healing sites on these areas.
Yeah.
Think of the cult of Asclepius and others in Greece. They knew more than we thought. And a lot of it was destroyed. A lot of it shouldn't have been destroyed. Imagine if you had total control of the subatomic structure of that person you're trying to heal.
Yeah.
And you use that energy force to do it.
Yeah.
You remove whatever or reactivate it or reorganize it.
Yeah.
Imagine the good it would bring to our planet. Because I believe using these energy forms, either negatively or positively, you'll get back what you want.
Yes. Yeah.
But if you're too negative, you'll also cop back what you didn't want.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Yeah, we're not driving a Ferrari on a country lane.
No.
You might have a great run for 5 seconds, but watch the hedge and the cow.
Yeah.
I have that answered that question.
Yes.
Intelligent questions, I like them.
Yeah. This is, sorry.
So I just thought that.
Oh, we do it at the same time. So this is from Rick again.
Hello, Rick. I feel I'm getting to know you. I hope you get to read some of my books one day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
The result can be anything from fear to wonder to terror to death, to exaltation to joy to pride to belief.
Yeah.
It's how you react. Like Bernadette Subaru in Lourdes. Virgin Mary in blue in a cave.
Yeah.
Wow, I'm meeting the Virgin Mary. Yay, let's build a basilica. And they did. And there are still healings there, but is that created by the actual source that moved? Or is it created by the faith of the people activating what they believe to be the source?
Yeah.
You know, there's no black and white in this stuff.
No.
It's
No, there isn't.
every colour in the multiverse.
It can't be black and white, can it?
There's no black and white. All it is moving electrons and how we visualize them. I ask my cat about black and white. His universe is green.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ask a bear about it. His universe is brown and grey, I think.
Yeah.
And if I ask an insect, his eye limit is far greater than ours in the electromagnetic spectrums.
Yeah.
We live in a multiverse.
We do.
Well, I remember an old saying many, many years ago that if you look out of the corner of your eye, you might see a goblin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you might.
I've not seen one yet. I don't.
No.
Oh, you need a few more beers.
Seen a leprechaun, but I haven't seen
Oh,
a
actually, you might as
See,
well
I-
have a bottle of Scrumpy,
Yeah.
the good stuff from Devon,
Oh yeah, I like cider.
and then see if you see goblins afterwards or during it.
I'll end up having a drink with him.
Yeah, I know, but we don't want you ending up being one.
Possibly.
Very probably.
Everything is constantly moving.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of controversy with people because of my shifting PowerPoint theory, because it's not fixed. It's not there. It's not. How in reality can something stay constant when it's an electromagnetic field result?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not a bright man.
Interesting.
You know, I'm not a great intellect. I'm not a physicist. I'm not anything like that.
Yeah.
I just like looking at weird patterns and working out what's happening here.
Yeah.
There's got to be a logical reason for it. There has to be a scientific reason or a mathematical reason, and that scientific reason is subject to change, because all good science is subject to change and subject to constant hypothesis testing.
Yes.
Can I just quickly on what you just said?
You can talk too slowly, not just quickly.
Yeah. Talk so if you want. Does there have to be a logical reason behind it all?
No,
Right.
it doesn't have to be at all.
Right.
Logic is just an adaptation the Greeks came up with that we still adapt.
Right.
But is there a mathematical reason?
Most probably.
Most probably. Because everything is mathematics. Mathematics is the music of the spheres, as Pythagoras stated.
Yeah.
Maybe you knew more. And something I posted on Facebook recently, and that was, with meteorites and comets, especially comets, seeding planets and Earths, and it's just bacteria and dust. The old biblical concept of we are dust.
Yeah.
And born of dust and become dust. They might not realize it, but they might be far closer to the truth.
Yeah.
That our forefather was a bacterium at Barberton in South Africa. Talk about the out of Africa theory, and a hell of a lot older.
Yeah.
Come on, it's your turns now.
All right.
Next question.
I've done it. Paul Tucker, what is the Australian government view on the phenomena of disclosure? Great show, guys.
I don't know, because I don't speak to them and they've never spoken to me. As I said to Andy and Deb, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Good. Thank God for that. I hate to be so rude.
It's fine.
I would hate
Call
to
me
be so
anything.
rude. Anything except late for dinner. That's what I always say.
Yeah.
I've never been interviewed by anyone in Australia yet. And yet I get interviews from England, Canada, United States, elsewhere on a regular basis. They're not really interested. It doesn't fit into their paradigm at all.
Have you had any dealings with the government?
Other than paying taxes to them, no.
Yeah.
They leave me alone, which is good.
Yeah.
Because unfortunately, it's not necessarily the government, but Being in Australia, I'm more sheltered, which is good.
Yeah.
I've read too many books on famed UFO investigator dies in car accident or commits suicide or is found dead on the side of a roadside, and I think, oh dear.
Yeah.
Oh dear, because there are vested interests that
Mhm.
might not want any of this out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That I could almost say was, they've stifled my research since 1972 on this. Every time I get a lead to go forward with the research, something happens.
Yeah.
Which it does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean I'm going to stop.
No.
Nope.
Knowledge has to be spread. Knowledge has to be continued. Knowledge
Yeah.
has to be thought, rethought, rehypothesized. And now we go back to earlier in the program, the concept of oxygen and Lavoisier. How the hell did we end up with this? Lavoisier created a concept of oxygen. It didn't exist before him
No.
in the 18th century. The concept before oxygen was called phlogiston.
Right.
Phlogiston was good. It explained metallurgical principles very easily, which oxygen doesn't.
Right.
Things like rust and things like that.
Yeah.
But somebody managed to publish ahead of the others. That was Lavoisier.
Right.
All science is hypothesis. None of it is fact.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Everything is hypothesis. Nothing is fact.
Right. Another question.
Hmm.
One Mad Bank is asking, how much of this knowledge have you learned, worked out whilst browsing your subconscious?
I think my subconscious has been browsing the knowledge.
Yeah.
I was interviewed many years ago now, and they said, how do you come up with your summations? I said, I don't come up with summations. The data comes up with summations.
Yeah.
I use the data for the summation, not me. I'm not putting my bias in it. I'm trying not to put my bias into it. All I'm doing is explaining my findings.
Yeah.
My subconscious might be working on those. And yes,
Yeah.
some of them are leaps, like the quasar vacuum. But to me, it just seems like this is all a standard mathematical progression.
Yeah.
Because mathematics is the ultimate proof of anything. And mathematics is also music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all mathematics. Mathematics is not an ugly thing. But don't ask me to do much mathematics. I'm hopeless.
Me too.
I used to be good at it, but somehow over the years, oh, look, calculator.
Yeah. Easy.
Easy. Brain will turn off this section now
Yeah.
and
Right.
continue on others.
MK5446 is asking, what, if any, is George's opinion of the electric universe theory?
It depends on which view of the electric universe theory there is. There are quite a few, but basically, to me, a multiverse exists that is all pure electromagnetism.
Yeah.
Everything, as we said in the beginning, starts at apparent solid. Actually, I'll come up with a philosophical concept that people hate. I believe it, but people hate it. They hate it. And that, some of them really hate it, and it's good. The postulate is there was once a solid mass that is now the universe. Okay, here's this solid mass we believe.
Yeah.
It's doing nothing.
Right.
Just sitting there. It does nothing. There's no movement, so there's no time. So it could have existed for a second or for infinity.
Right.
And an electron moves. We don't know what's caused it, or what started it, or why it did it. But it did it. Now, if we look at a normal chemical reaction, it will always have the same result, if it's the same chemical reaction. So therefore, any integers or new parameters are all based on that original electron move. I know it's not an easy concept. It basically means that everything is fixed.
Yeah.
So that whatever we do, as Skinner, the great psychologist, wrote, everything we do, think, and see and feel is created by chemical reactions in our body.
Yeah.
This is just putting it on a subatomic level and continuing. You know, everything, or as Islamic people say, inshallah, Allah, everything is the will of God.
Yeah.
It is a progression forever. But it doesn't mean I leave the theatre because I know there's going to be an end to the movie.
Yeah.
I want to stay to the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Sorry,
It's
I'm having
all a
light
conceptual
issues.
thing. You know, we live in a wonderful world, shitty in parts,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but basically humans aren't.
No.
The three of us aren't. Your
No.
listeners aren't.
No.
Some are. It will always be that way.
Yeah, definitely.
But we have to do our best to go against them, or to subvert them, or to release knowledge, which we can do through this media
Yeah.
you've created and use,
Yeah.
to keep barbecuing sacred cows that have no longer got any usefulness, to demolish shibboleths
Yeah.
that no longer serve a purpose.
Yeah.
I can be proven wrong in 10 minutes' time. I don't know.
No.
It's only taken me 50 years to do this.
Yeah. Just a mere 50 years.
It's been bloody good 50 years. And in this case, I would like to thank Amazon,
Yeah.
because without Amazon, not one of my books would have been published.
No.
And that's self-publishing, and that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Much as what we might say about Jeff Bezos, he created the greatest publishing revolution.
Yeah.
Because it's not good enough just to have it on the internet. I want it there. There they are.
Yeah. Physical books.
Yeah.
I want them because one day the internet might have died years ago. Everything's perished. We're long since gone mouldering away in whatever we end up mouldering in or
Yeah.
as. And somebody in a thrift shop comes across
Your book.
one of them.
Yeah.
It's still there.
Yeah.
I mightn't have any kids, but I've got infinity.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We've all got a chance to pick up the infinity. And I do get excited. Because this is exciting stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely.
Wonderful stuff. But I'd really like to get this problem solved.
Oh, yeah. Joe's wanted to know if you've done anything on Dogman.
No, not much on Dogman at all. I've read a lot.
Yeah.
I've mainly done whatever information I could find. I found with a lot of data or reports of things, especially when you're doing all of them,
Yeah.
and you start listing them in chronological order and their places, so many different books mention the same sighting.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, I'll go through a book and it's got 20 sightings of something
Yeah.
in 180 or 200 pages. I write books on average of 300 pages, because I reckon that's good value for people.
Yeah.
You buy an ebook, $3.95, other book, $19.95. Simple.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you've got 300 pages of data in, well, let's just grab one at random. Amazing archaeology. Everything you didn't want to know about archaeology. Stuff that you will never find written in most conservative archaeology.
Yeah.
Each paragraph, and this is in country by country order,
Yeah.
each paragraph is a different data point. So we're getting 3 to 5 per page. That's 500 pages, 2,500 data points.
Yeah.
Worldwide that nobody else bothered to collate or write,
Yeah.
because I enjoy it. I have a TV on my right. I edit here on my two screens on my left. Madam sits over there watching the
Got it all
telly till
worked
she
out.
goes to bed. People say, how the hell do you write books? Last year, I was publishing a new book every fortnight.
Yeah.
I work a full-time job in the city with a 4-hour commute as well.
Wow. Don't know how you
Yes.
fit it all in.
I don't know how I do it either, but basically it's organisation.
Yeah.
A database that I can adapt easily and move into and change and shift.
Yeah.
Like at the moment I'm working on, I think it's going to be 28 books.
Right.
28 books. I think it's 28 books. It's 7,500 pages I've collated so far for them.
Yeah.
It's about 28. I've still got about 1,000 pages to go. It's the complete history of phenomena from UFOs to hairy humanoids to whatever, once again from 3 separate sources, published sources, or leaving trace evident phenomena as well. Are you all right, Deb? Sneeze. Ah,
He's vanished.
she's vanished. Oh no. Sorry,
Oh,
did I
she's back.
upset you?
No, I had a sneeze.
Oh, try Zyrtec. It's very good.
I think I need
ZYRTEC.
less tree pollen.
Yes, yes. Oh, it's that time of year. It's that
Yeah,
time
it
of
is.
year here all the time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not good.
We just bought a $2,500 air filter for the sitting room.
Right, like a pollen
Because,
filter.
madam, it's a pollen and smoke filter. I don't smoke. Somebody else does. And
Me too.
and we got it, and it's much better. With less
Yeah.
nose running in the morning.
Oh,
Yeah.
drives me mad.
Yeah, technology's good now. Where the hell was I?
I don't
Andy,
know.
where was I?
We've
I
got
don't know, but we do have another question for you.
Yeah, of course you have.
We always have questions for you.
We do. We've got some good question askers.
Yes.
I'd like to investigate everywhere. But I
Not
don't
just
think
one
I will.
particular place.
No.
I've already investigated everywhere, and I want to investigate more of it. Years ago, I thought I'd like to go to all of the sites in my books, especially my archaeology ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I never did. I think if I had an urge, I would have. But at the same time, I think it would have stopped me doing my research.
Yeah.
So I go wandering instead of thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I have a habit. Each book in my reference library, every reference I use in my books, I own a copy of.
Right.
I like my books. I've got a 2-story library in the barn
Well done.
full of books. All my reference books. And there's some beautiful rare ones in there. Very old ones, modern, unusual ones. I managed to buy this. I don't know if you've heard of William Corliss.
No.
No.
Okay. Corliss. Brilliant researcher into strange science, strange geology, strange archaeology in the 70s and 80s. I got in touch with his son a couple of years ago and had the rare opportunity to buy a section of his library. It cost a fortune. I had it shipped over to Australia.
Yeah.
It is probably the best library you could get on cometary impacts and meteorological phenomena like that, amongst others. And as his son said, he would have loved to have talked to you. And I said, yes, it's a bit late, isn't it?
Yeah.
And they're the sort of books I get because you have to be so sure of your sources.
Yes.
But the patterns validate a lot of the sources as well.
Mhm.
Because if I don't fit inside the pattern, either they're part of another pattern
Yeah.
or they're just erroneous.
Yeah. Right, we've got one last question.
When's he going to finish? Oh, okay, sorry.
I have to ask, are the thylacines alive? Still alive? Alive.
Australia is such a big country. I've travelled a lot of it. Fortunately, I have travelled a lot of Australia. And I've looked at some weird things.
Yeah.
I've a lot of research I've read, and the people I talk to, as far as I'm concerned, poor old thylacine is still alive. If not on the mainland, he or she, because there's no it, they don't breed,
No.
is somewhere in Tasmania. And Tasmania has some amazing wildernesses that no one's been in.
Yeah.
We can't say we've... Look at animal exploration in the world. Mind you, when the gorilla was first discovered, I think in 1837, only took them 5 years to capture one.
Yeah.
I think it went to France. Yeah, they've had Bigfoot around for centuries. And I still haven't seen a Bigfoot enclosure at the zoo.
No.
No.
And I haven't read of any books where he's on the wall of a barn going,
Yeah.
very odd. It's a bit like Nessie. They come, they go, they come, they go. So, in a summation, yes, we can create a thing with our own image and create it so that we can understand it. That comes via a quasar vacuum, or maybe it does not. They can be just a mechanism for an interdimensional warp or an interdimensional creation.
Yeah.
Or things just happen. But if things just happen, they don't follow patterns. Therefore, this is all invalid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's too much data on this to make that invalid.
Yeah. There is, yeah.
Definitely.
Well.
Okay, I told you earlier, Andy, that my interviews do go on for a while.
Oh yeah, you did.
And they do go everywhere. I warned you.
you.
I even said, look at some of them on YouTube. Yeah, you'll be there for a few hours.
I think the longest one I could see was about 5.5 hours.
Yeah, something like that. Because they kept asking me questions.
I would need a wee.
What's that?
I would need a wee in between all that.
Oh, that's why we have the breaks.
Yeah.
Or you could sit on a commode chair.
Well, there is that, yeah. Nobody would ever
And
know.
tonight we will not explain what a commode chair is to our listeners. Ask Nana.
I think a lot of them are using them, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, by now.
I know
Considering I was
four
still
in the
asleep when you telephoned me at 5 o'clock this morning, so
No,
Yeah.
you
I
can't
haven't
go.
done a bad job of
No.
whipping on a jumper and actually that's all I've whipped
Oh,
on. No,
you've
I'm
got-
wearing pants. It's right. Ladies present, this is a family program. No, I am wearing a tracksuit pants.
That's good.
But a public decency, and it does get a bit cool in the nether regions. Oh, lovely term.
Well, it's been fabulous having you on, George.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
Just
Oh, you've been having me on? Oh, no.
All this time.
All this time.
no,
It's been
it's
wonderful.
been great.
Yes, it's been great.
Yes.
It's one of those where you just know how it's going to go. Because I said to you today, didn't I, Deb? I
Yeah,
think all we're going to do is laugh and
yeah. It's been
Yeah,
good.
but you're taking things in. You're getting a
Oh.
response. Oh, thank you,
Yeah.
nickname.
well, they're all.
Thank you for having me. I've loved it.
It's been good.
Not many people can talk for 2 hours.
I know. I
Yeah.
don't know. We don't do bad actually. Our guests can talk for 2 hours.
Yeah.
We always
No,
worry that they won't, and then they do.
Especially when they just wake up and they're still asleep. I did an interview last week where the interviewer was ill and left, and I did a 3/4 of an hour interview on my own.
All right.
What?
Yeah, well, nobody else could do it. I had a 3/4 of an hour to fill, so I just did the interview.
Well done.
So you
I don't know where I'd have
interviewed
started
yourself,
with that.
basically.
It wasn't easy, but no interview is easy if you're thinking about your subject.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is like doing a standing oral dissertation for a medical degree every
Yeah.
time you do an interview.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I've got thousands of people. Some of my interviews, sorry, I'll just go on for a couple of minutes. Is that all right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're
fine.
fine.
Some of my
Carry on.
interviews, I did one last year. Just before I got on, he said, oh, by the way, you know you've got 500,000 people listening to you.
Wow.
Yeah.
And also the BBC has asked for permission to rebroadcast it.
Right.
I said, well, that's fine. No worries. I wrote a book on megalithic architecture of Polynesia.
Yeah.
Mysteries of the Pacific.
Yeah.
Explaining with pictures. It's only a little book. It's only 160 pages. There isn't much left after the missionaries got through it. But of cities and fortresses of stone in the Pacific, of stone archways, stone constructions, megalith constructions that nobody believed existed
No.
because I wanted to.
Yeah.
No one had written it. That's why the BBC took me on. They said, no one's ever written a book on megalithic architecture or archaeology of the Pacific. I said, well, I have. Because somebody had to. And my Tongan friends loved it. You know, they said somebody's finally doing something to help show that we're not just palm trees and, as they said, lazy natives sitting under them.
Yeah.
That these were industrious civilizations. Look at Nan Madol. We're still asking questions about it. You know Nan Madol
No.
on the island of Pohnpei?
No.
Nanmadol.
Right.
I've heard of it.
It is a megalithic city of enormous proportions sitting on a fly spot of a volcano in the Marianas.
Right.
Look it up. You'll start
Yeah.
looking at archaeology in a totally different way.
Right.
Actually, I'll grab it from this one. It's easier. Oh, no, it won't. Oh! Before we go. Oh, no, that's a shitty picture. Oh, there are so many things.
It's not one Deb
So
drew, is
many-
it?
What?
And it's not a picture Deb drew, is it?
What was that?
Shut up about my drawing.
Deb's done a few drawings and she said, I'm not messing about. And you saying it was a shitty picture. I said it isn't one that Deb's drawn.
Oh, okay.
That's not very nice, is it?
Sorry.
Look up. Okay, children. For
Yes.
after the program, I want you to look up Nan Madol. Nanmadol.
Right.
If you're not sure, N for Nelly, A for Apple, N for Nelly, space, M for Mary, A for Apple, D for Dog, O for Oliver, L for Lima. I've got no idea what the normal acronyms are for it, so I just make them up as I go, as long as you understand. And another one. Look up Baalbek,
I've heard of that.
B-A-A-L-B-E-K,
Yeah.
in Lebanon. And this is very badly out of focus. That is a carved stone,
Right.
or the end of it.
Yeah.
1,600 tons, sitting in the quarry outside of the Temple of Zeus, or the Temple of Jupiter in Baalbek.
Wow.
The 3 of them were found in the last few years buried next to it, which are also 1,600 tons. Great Pyramid is 2.5 tons on average.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing. Just
That's
a lot of
good.
manpower and lifting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This, they still have no idea how they did this. And then when you go to Baalbek, look up Trillathon. There's Trillithon. And you will see the sisters to these stones at a height of 20 meters in the terrace of the Temple of Baalbek.
Wow.
You want to talk about lifting enormous weights?
Yeah.
Look at Baalbek. Enormous weights, pyramid? No, just lots of them.
Yeah.
Herodotus explained how it was done.
Yeah.
You look at the Pacific Island stones. Some of them are 70 to 80 tons each,
Yeah.
raised up to 20 meters.
It's amazing.
That's a lot for people living under palm trees who did nothing,
Yeah, it is. You're right.
apparently. There are more mysteries than we can think of. My passion is archaeology.
Yeah.
The other ones just came along.
Yeah.
But I suppose they're all my passion, really. There's so much more to discover.
There is. You're right.
So I've got to work out a way of getting pictures onto an interview one day.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just getting old.
No, you just send them through to us and we put them on.
Yeah. But it sort of takes the spontaneity away from the interview. Anyway,
Well,
it's
we
been a
just
long
guess
time.
We just guess at what picture we're going to put up and hope it's the right one.
Yeah.
So,
But
Yeah.
definitely look up Nanmadol. It will change
Yeah.
your concept of the Pacific forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've written that.
Because
down.
people, there is so much that people don't realise. I've been invited to go to see a wall apparently covered in hieroglyphics just north of Sydney.
Right?
It's only an hour away.
Yeah.
I've been trying to see it for a long time. Some people say it was a fake. Some people say it was created in the 1920s by bored ex-servicemen from the First World War. Yeah, with an extensive knowledge of hieroglyphics in an older hieratic style. But no, they were just bored and they went and created this wall. I want to go see it. I want to photograph it. I want to feel it. And I want to use my subconscious or my intuition, as somebody mentioned in a question earlier. Oh, look, it's from more. Oh, is that? That's Morning. I think Joe Weeks's
sorry.
picture. Is it Morga? Oh,
What
it's
are
the
you
one
doing?
from the Morning Rectory.
No, I
Oh,
don't
she has
know.
a little creature with red eyes. It looks like Mothman,
Right.
but it's the English variety
Oh,
from the
yeah.
1960s from Morning in Cornwall.
Yeah, there you go. Morning, yeah. Morning Mothman. Whatever. Owlman was it?
I think, right. I think
Sorry.
that's one. I think that's one Joe's made.
Yeah, but it's the same sort of thing.
Yeah, that's. No, I've not got it here. Right, I thought I had a picture of it because I printed some off.
And anyway, these and lots of other things are found in any one of my volumes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I
Which
want
you
people
can
to
get
buy
from
my
Amazon.
books so that I can stop commuting 4 hours a day.
Yeah.
Because
Make
you
him a
can't work on
millionaire.
the train. And I'm getting long in the tooth, and I've got 28 books to finish.
Yes, that's true.
And God knows what I'll do after them.
No, you'll write more.
Yeah,
Well,
anyway, look forward to 28 volumes of strange phenomena. Actually, the shifting wormholes of the world,
Yep.
starting at 1600 and ending at 1999 in chronological order.
Right. We'll look
It's
out for
amazing
that.
what you can see when you're doing chronological order. You start seeing disparate things on the same dates.
Yeah.
Interesting patterns.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Okay.
that Mothman thing for Joe Weeks, she actually painted it.
Oh, yes.
Alright.
How did she pick it up? Did she pick it up mentally?
I think
Is it
she-
imagination or
I
a
think she copied it
accumulation
out
of
a book.
research?
I think she just copied it off a book or a picture.
Oh, okay. Because I'm sure it looks like Morning,
Yeah.
or the
Yeah.
church at Morning in the 1960s, where there were Mothman sort of sightings in Cornwall on the
Yeah,
coast.
so I've got a figure of Mothman, and I was thinking it was the same as that, but it's slightly different.
Yeah. Well, there are lots of. I have got older episodes of Mothman in my research, but the majority started in '67.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
See, we can go on for days like this. But,
I know.
This is gotta be one of the best ever.
Yeah, ever.
oh, thank you for that.
Honestly, it's,
Thank you for your courtesy. And
Really
I hope my
appreciate it.
English is understandable and fluent.
Oh,
I
yeah.
had somebody talk to me on the phone a couple of years ago and said, "Excuse me, could you get an English-speaking person to talk to me?"
That's
I just thought,
ridiculous.
now we met a really stupid one. Okay.
Anyway,
we-
on that note, we shall leave it for tonight. But do come back.
Okay.
again.
I hope to
please,
talk in the
please do
future.
Yeah.
come on again.
I don't know what we'll talk about, but I didn't know today.
Absolutely
You'll find-
anything.
Yeah, we'll find something.
Oh, yes.
But yeah, we'll sort something out for next time.
And we'll work out the
Hopefully,
time a
I
bit
won't be
better.
waking you up.
It's all right.
Yes.
It's a pleasure. I've enjoyed it immensely. I hope I haven't sent everyone to sleep.
No, I
No.
think
There
we
are
can-
big concepts. I don't hide that.
Yeah.
People have extreme brain drain after talking to me because I am whipping out concepts so fast, but they normally only meet one of them in a lifetime, let
Yeah.
alone a progression of them.
No, it's been
No,
great,
okay.
George.
It's
And
Thank
it's
you.
lovely
amazing.
meeting you, Deb.
You too.
Okay.
Yeah.
And thank God my phone was on this morning and Madam was up.
Yeah. Otherwise,
like-
we'd have been just sat here looking at each other.
I said to Deb, Deb, it's just me.
Where is that old bugger?
You
You know,
just have to
Yeah.
make stuff up.
no worries. You don't have to
Yeah.
make stuff up. There's so much amazing stuff.
No, there is,
Yeah,
yeah.
but no, it'd be great if you could come back on before the end of the year.
Thank you. I'd like to, but a bit later in the morning.
No, yeah.
I'll keep in touch with you anyway.
Yeah.
Of course you will. We're
Yeah,
both
definitely.
Facebook friends.
Yes.
Yeah, 100%.
And if people want to talk to me on Facebook, I rarely reply because I've got too much
There's
to do.
absolutely no point.
There's basically no point, but you can comment on posts.
Yeah.
I got a public Facebook page. I got a public author page.
Yeah.
Just George Mitrovic author, which shows books, it shows interviews, YouTube things. Or the easiest way is just put my name inside
Yeah.
inverted commas, which is how you search Google.
Yeah.
It locks it to those two words together.
Yeah.
And it's all there.
There you
Well,
are.
you remember on the Facebook group anyway, aren't you?
Yes.
Code to the Unknown. So anyone
I'm
in
always
there-
making comments and looking.
Yeah. And
Yeah, except you're hard to share at times.
yeah, I don't know why that. I think that's a Facebook thing.
That's
I don't-
Facebook thing. Because you got lovely stuff I could share, such as your ad for my program.
Yeah.
Well, I'll
I
send
couldn't
you the
share it.
link. Oh, could you not?
The second one was able to be shared. The first one wasn't.
Right.
Oh, it's Facebook does
think-
that. It's weird.
One of them do by Facebook, then the second one do direct from YouTube.
Yeah.
So I think the YouTube one is a direct link. Facebook like to keep it all together.
Yeah.
So I'm
But-
gonna just start doing it from YouTube from now on because it's easier, and a few people have complained about the sharing.
Yeah.
So,
No, it's great.
right. So yeah. So we're done now. If that's okay with you.
Yeah, I
So-
think we're just lying down and having a cigarette. That's a bit like
Yeah.
that.
So I'll play the outro video if you want to stay on so we can have a quick chat before you go.
Yes,
to
yes,
bed.
yes.
Is that okay?
Of course it is. I'd like to get your feedback.
Yeah.
So
Thank you all
massive
for
thank
joining
you.
us.
Yeah, massive
And
thank you
thank you for
everyone
the
in the chat.
questions. They were great.
Yes.
And we will see you next week when we have. Who we got next week, Deborah?
I know who's on.
Who?
It's it was
He was on last night.
Yeah, he was, yeah.
What's his name?
I can see him, I just can't remember his name.
The guy that
Next week, we have a mystery
week.
guest. Stay tuned.
The
Yeah.
guy we've got on next week,
Philip
Deborah does
Mansell.
Proof with Paul Sinclair. She does a modding for that, and she doesn't even know who was on there that we've got
Yes, it was
next week.
It was Philip Mansell. I just had to bring his name to mind.
He's on the week after.
Well, I can't do 2 weeks in front because I can't remember next week's. Stop it now.
Right. Anyway, it's Jay Austin. Finally getting him on. So
Yes,
it's all
Jay
good.
Austin.
Right. So thank you, everyone.
Yeah,
We'll
good
see
night.
you next Friday, and then hopefully the following Wednesday. So have a great 3-day weekend, guys.
Oh, yeah.
And we'll see you very soon.
You will.
Good night.
Take care, everybody.
And
Okay,
don't be
bye-bye.
afraid.
Bye.
See you later.